fast, fatal thought impact. Past painful thoughts, in fact, I blast tasteful thoughts and past. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Q's show here, and now. Whenever we last left off, with this series, we had Deku. And, well, he was dealing with quite a bit of things. Deku, he was dealing with his father's death. He was mourning the man. Granted, Deku never thought he would, but he is. The man who was trying to make up for things in his life. He was a horrible person, and he always ran away from responsibility. However, he decided to try to change. He decided to try and turn his life around. And only one of his children, they sort of wanted nothing to do with him. Deku, he felt angry. He felt like just tolerating his dad was the best he could do, since he was in a terminal stage. Granted, he wanted to try and help him. He wanted to try to change things around. Talk to his dad about what happened with Mirko's mother, and express that he does sort of understand him a bit better. However, his work did consume him. He never had the chance to have that conversation, and he regrets it. Because he feels like his dad may have died thinking Deku still hated him, thinking that Deku may not have changed. And we do currently have Deku right now, who, after hanging up a phone, he does go to set it down, before at least going to grab his laptop and go to start pressing down a few keys. As you do have Mirko, who does ask who that was. That was, the contractors from the apartment. They said they finished the place. Really? Yeah. So, there's that. I think, I need to start letting everyone know, and they can get their stuff moved back in. Granted, getting apartment numbers is going to be easy, but moving stuff is going to be hectic, so, I think I should probably move my stuff in first. Izuku, you can stay here. Thanks, Mirko, but I feel like I'm bothering a bit too much here. Mirko looking over at Izuku. Listen, I like having you here. Besides, the noise is good. I'm not used to it being quiet. So, you could just stay. Deku looking at Mirko. As he does want to, but he just wants to get busy. He wants something to distract himself. He knows how he is. And he did pay a lot of money for that project. So, he does talk about how he does want to check it out today, and see if they really finished everything. Mirko actually going to leave with Izuku, whenever he talked about going to check it out. And whenever the two did arrive, Mirko was quite surprised, since from what she can tell, these 4 apartment buildings, they're not there anymore. In fact, the entire area around it, it's turned into, it's one large place, and it's huge. It's so surreal to see. And she doesn't know how to explain it. Whenever she does point this out to Izuku, he does at least explain to her what he did. And she does hear about it. As after at least going up to the room that would be Midoriya's, he does open the door and show it off. Explaining that as they do walk in and Mirko should see a place around twice the size of her apartment, that this place here, it would be his room, or most likely his mother's. Since, well, yeah. With all the places here, he was actually able to make up, or at least create a few more apartment rooms, so it doesn't really matter. Even if everyone else does move back in, he still has extra rooms available to rent. Hmm? Izuku, this is crazy. Yeah, so I guess I should probably get my stuff moved. Hmm? Izuku, are you sure? I mean, I know you're still. I'm fine. I'll be fine. It's okay. I just Izuku, if you don't want to move, then I can move my stuff in. Deku looking at Mirako kind of caught off guard. Huh? Izuku, we've been living with each other for a while. Plus, I mean, you know, it's not really that awkward, right? Yeah, yeah, sorry. I'm just thinking. That's all. No. Deku, he's got a lot running through his head. He's trying to figure out the situation with the other company. He has an idea as to how to deal with it. However, that's just the problem. It doesn't exactly border on certain legal means. And then there's the fact that he's also trying to at least think about what to even really do today. Should he think more about what he did? Should he drink something? Should he just try and distract himself with television or, well, even just trying to go to work? He's got that to deal with as well. And that's just something that he can't do. He doesn't want to go to work and talk to his colleagues, since some of them they do know what's going on and he knows they'll try to cheer him up. And he kinda doesn't want them to try and do that. It's strange. He knows they'll do that because he's good to them, and they're all smart and intelligent people. He's spent enough time with them to know the type of people they are. In fact, he wouldn't even call them colleagues, they're more like friends. It's just so confusing in his head. And Deku is starting to second guess everything. Mirako, she can tell. Deku, he's clearly not in the right state of mind right now. And he needs help. Now, she does actually at least convince Deku, after some talking, that, yeah, if he's going to be moving some of his stuff out of her place, why not just move everything? Since if the place is bigger and larger, then there's really no reason to stay at her place. Plus, this would somewhat make it easier on her. His apartment complex is actually a bit closer to her work. And he does want to, or she does at least want to, spend more time with him. Now, Deku, he doesn't really understand much of it. However, we do have a Mirako, she does at least go to walk up and grab him into a hug, trying to at least express that she doesn't really know too much. However, she does at least know Izuku. She knows what makes him happy and she knows what makes him sad. And she can tell right now, Izuku, he needs a shoulder to rely on. Since that big brain of his, it's clearly running on a bit of overtime. Now, Deku, he wouldn't really say too much. However, he does get to bring his hands up and wrap them around Mirako, and then go on to explain to her that he's really thankful that she's here, and that he's kind of happy. Hmm? Izuku, are you really happy? Hmm. Mirako, I I wish to believe that. I'm smart enough, I have enough information. I know exactly scientifically how to explain these feelings, but I just don't think I want to. I don't want to say that just survival instincts or even really just emotional responses are the reason for my feelings. I want to believe there's something more than that. I just want to believe that the reason why I'm having this feeling isn't because of dopamine in my brain being released. I want to believe that I do love you. It's not just some chemical reaction, not just because of physical contact or intimacy. Mirako looking up at Deku. Ash has asked him if he is really just going to go on a scientific rant right now. Mirako. I mean, maybe. Maybe I need another drink. Izuku, I don't think you do. Right. Sorry. It's just, I feel like I need one. I know. I know. But maybe focus on your work for right now. Maybe if you figure that stuff out first, maybe you can give yourself a reward for a drink. How about that? Hmm? Yeah, maybe. I should probably call Mr. Hirozu, call some people from a moving company, and let the residents know their places are done. It's gonna be a bit of a bitch to get all this stuff moved in, but I think we'll all manage. The chaos might be good for me. Mirako staring at Deku. As Deku, you can tell that right now he doesn't have all the confidence in the world. He doesn't really know a lot about what he's talking about. He's extremely knowledgeable about tech and stuff like that, even emotional and how the brain works, just based on pure instinct and science. But at the same time, you can tell he doesn't want to work on that logic. He's trying to, if you do want to put it into words, discover how emotions work. While Deku knows much about the brain, there's still the mystery as to consciousness. He wants to know, he wants to know. Because if he feels like he can figure that out, he can figure out why he's just so much in, well, why he's just so stumped. Why he's so slow to understand certain things now. It's because he's not really focusing on them like he used to. He's getting distracted. He's getting his attention taken away. He's not focusing as much time or effort on it anymore. Well, he can still solve them fast. He's not focused. He's sloppy. That's all it really is. And Deku, after at least going to get all this stuff solved, and sitting down with Mr. Yorozu in front of the board of directors, everybody they are looking at Deku. As Deku, he does sit there and go to bring to attention something. Hello, good evening, everyone. I'd like to talk to all of you about everything that happened at Island. We recovered two of my tech prototypes. However, the other two are still seemingly at large. I see. Well, Mr. Midori, if that was all you had to talk to us about, no, there's a lot more. Listen, I believe I know exactly the corporation that may have taken my prototypes. Good. Well then, perhaps maybe that we can solve something out, figure something out, and get that taken care of. Well, that's just the problem. The prototypes weren't exactly patented, and the technology, it's being decoded. They're trying to work backwards and figure things out. I fear by the time we're able to get anywhere with that, it will already be too late. They'll be able to explain my own tech to me in the way I understand it, the way I create it, and potentially try to countersue. Mr. Midoriya, that is not very good. I understand. Which is why I was hoping to get some backing from you guys. Get some backing. Is that really what you are asking of us? Yes, It is. Listen, I know well, technically I do work for you, even though my particular industry is separated from your own. Hmm? That is not the way we would put it for you, Mr. Midoriya. We own the place you work. We pay you money. We have even given you people to work with. And you, what do you do? I create, and I also did pull in profits for you, which is why I understand that if you won't listen to me. But do keep in mind, I do own about 11% of this company. All of them looking around at Izuku, as they are kinda confused. And then Deku does continue to explain. And the legal contracts that Mr. Yoruzu signed and everything, Deku, he has full control over the division department that they provided him with. Meaning, it's essentially its own, well, branch of the corporation. And he did even buy another company and include them into the Yaoyuruzu Corporation. And through extensive hiring and branching out more with both additional companies, even actually looking into more computer development and auto development, there is that. He has actually branched out enough with not only certain colleagues and putting funding into those things, but he recently did actually buy and acquire another company and include it into his own, into the Yaoyuruzu Corporation. Everyone looking up at Izuku, as he does explain to them. He owns a sizable amount of the company. If they don't want to listen to him, he will do one simple thing. He will start to buy more shares of the company and go for a direct buy. And he will most likely outbid them and get their shares. Many of them actually staring up at Midoriya as he's just standing there in the room. His hair is a little bit messy. You can tell he did comb it back and put gel inside of it. His eyes, they do somewhat have, well, bags around them. And you can tell from the way he put on his tie this morning. He didn't tighten it up all the way. It is slightly loose and off to the right. And that's just a problem. He doesn't look professional, yet he's saying all this. All right, Mr. Midoriya. We see the exact problem you are putting us in. However, who's to say we can't outbid you? Who is to say we cannot flip the situation on you and overtake your companies? Fire you? What would you say then? Well, I would do one simple thing. I would turn around and work for the Intelli Corporation. Excuse me? Yes. I would work for the Intelli Corporation. And you would no longer receive first dibs on my technology. Mr. Midoriya, may we remind you of what is in the contract and what you have signed. We are allowed first jurisdiction over my technology. I am well aware of that, Director. However, just because you get first jurisdiction does not mean I am allowed, or really not allowed, to show them off to other companies. Well, I can show you. I can also show them. And if I would like to, I can go with them. That is how that contract claim does work. Do you understand, Director? The person looking up at Midoriya, as it does make sense. He does have to sign off on certain things after the patents and technology is technically handed over to them. They are given jurisdiction and allowed to proceed. They just pay Midoriya for using it and making it. But that's just the problem. He can show it to them. And if he doesn't say they can use it, they can't. That is something that all of them, they do know about this. And whenever they all do look at Midoriya, they can tell. He has a situation in his hands. He's prepared for something like this, hasn't he? He's thought about this thoroughly. All of them, they just stare at him, and they do wonder. Was this his plan from the very beginning? A corporate takeover? And Deku does at least continue, expressing that his plan is quite simple for the Intelli Corporation. While it is technically without, or not within, legal parameters, he would like to get into their systems and destroy the files and blueprints they have of his technology. If they can do that, then his tech will be safe. And he will feel more comfortable with working with the Yakuza Corporation. Deku going to turn and walk out, as he does explain to them. Once that is all said and done, he will take a board seat on their directors, and he would rather like to have a conversation with them the next time he does see them as people making decisions for the company, not for his workshop and for his tech. Now, with that, Deku would leave, and the board of directors, they would start looking over much information. Whenever they do start looking into certain business, expenses, and even certain items, they do find Deku's contract. They do find the branches or the corporations that were taken over and bought by Midori and incorporated into the Yakuza Corporation. They can already tell Midoriya's purchases, they got a little pricey. And while one of them was fairly cheap by their standards, the other was not. They can tell that this bid Midoriya is taking, it is something that is now seen as a threat. Many of them they can tell. Deku's entire premise on this is to get his tech destroyed. He wants to make sure he can go through and possibly in the future redesign this technology and get it used the right way, the way he wants it. Used to better humanity, not to kill people. And while many of them they do know Deku's character is that way, they can't help but wonder what he could create if he really wanted people to die. If the man was a villain, how exactly would he do things? Because the way he's doing them right now, he clearly is not a good guy. However, he isn't a bad guy either. And we do actually have back at Miruko's apartment, where she's really started to pack up a few smaller things and is getting some stuff ready. She does wonder about it. Okay, so the new place, it has all this stuff, all this stuff, and all this stuff. She can clearly at least take this stuff here and this stuff over here. Even some of her home weights. And then there's actually an idea she does have. She knows that they do technically have a few other rooms in that apartment. And one of them they could be Deku's home office, and the other one could be her workout room. However, she does think more about that. Does she really need a workout room? Couldn't she, at least start going to a gym maybe? Start working out in the Hero Corporation's weight room? Stuff like that. And while this idea, it is something that she does think on for a minute, she does wonder about something else. The thing her mother was a bit worried about. And that fake test. Maybe... No, it sounds stupid. It sounds silly. What's she thinking? It just sounds like it's too soon. Yeah. While she is thinking about all that, and her face did turn bright red, whenever she was packing some stuff in her room, we do actually have Deku, who he's back in the living room and he's typing through a few other things, as he's looking over the coding and making sure all of it will work properly. Since if this doesn't go as planned, more than likely this will blow a lot of things. Now, with that, I believe that that's a good point to leave this what if off of. And I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.